And we're back. Is that the one we decided on?
You can do whatever you want. Don't listen to the angry
No,
one.
no, the angry one, he gets mad and yells at me, and I don't like it.
Dude, I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper right
No.
now.
Oh,
That
you,
ain't.
so we're here. I've been pretty excited about this one. We've been trying to find someone of this quality to be on, and we're here with Dr. Jackson Walker. You want to say howdy?
Yeah, howdy. Jackson Walker here, Anderson, South Carolina.
All right, man.
I don't know. This may be the first time we've had somebody from South Carolina on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
You're
From
the
what I
first,
can
bud.
remember.
I think we're checking that box.
Yeah, we'll just
Cool.
go ahead and say you're the first, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it. I will take anything.
Ta-da.
I'll take it.
So what's your story, man? Give us the rundown.
Yeah, the rundown. So I grew up here in Anderson, and we had, believe it or not, we had some wild quail around here, the upstate of South Carolina back in the early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s. In the woods, I would see them, and it would always scare me. But I was in awe of it. So I fished growing up mostly. I was mostly fishing. And, but as I got older, I started to shoot skeet, and it evolved into basically just pure upland hunting now. I don't do a ton of waterfowl. My brother does a lot of that. And just from an early age, I did fall in love with labs. I had a lab growing up, and I knew I wanted to be a vet, so I went on to do that down at Auburn. Finished up there in '09, and the summers of vet school, I got to do some quail hunting with a professor, and I just fell in love with it. And my first boss was actually raising Vizslas, and so I got to hunt with him, and then it was just all downhill from there. It was just a wonderful entrance into it. At probably a later age than most people think. I shot skeet when I was little, but never birds, and never seen the symphony of the dog, the bird, and the shooter, and the guide, and all of this stuff going down. And that's what I fell in love with. It wasn't I didn't give a hoot of how many birds we had. I just wanted to be there and see it all, see the dogs work. And so that's what I fell in love with. And then at work, honestly, as time moves on, fast forward, I'm a general practitioner, heavy emphasis on surgery, like ortho stuff. And I don't know who all your audience is, but I'm sorry if I offend anyone. In a sense, I just got tired of working with poodles all day. And no offense, I actually have a poodle, but
Man, you don't sweat this. Everybody's very used to us being very crass.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I was like, I had hunting dog clients, and gun dog clients that did everything, from flushers to pointers and retrievers and stuff. And I had a bunch of them, more than probably the average clinic. And I was like, wait a minute now, I can do something with this. And then my brother, he's in Columbia, South Carolina. He travels all over. He's with a Pure Fishing. They make fly rods and fly reels, and so he's all over the place. And I made him a kit one day. I was like, I went to Home Depot and I got a Homer box, and I filled it with stuff that I thought he would need. And this goes in. We can get into these ingredients later because they all have a big significance to me. Mainly the fact that you couldn't get them over the counter. And I got frustrated because people didn't have, like, there is today no safe form of doggy aspirin, so to speak, that you can give in doses that really make a hill of difference. So I got frustrated with that.
There's not a safe one?
Mm-mm.
Huh, okay.
No, aspirin in a really low, like an 81, like a baby aspirin, once a day. Mm-hmm. For about 3 days, and you really don't want to go longer than that. So with that being the only thing out there available that's safe for mild moderate pain in the dog, I was like, screw this, because if I get to meet these people and legally touch their dog, then they're a patient, and I can give them some stuff. Hey, you need to have this on hand. Your dog's healthy. I've looked it over. I've done a physical, and here's the stuff that you need to get you from point A to point B. And also, if it's something really minor, here, save yourself $250 and give them two of these and call me in the morning, sort of thing. And so then I would have them, call me if something happened like that, and I would say, yeah, let's start it or let's keep it going. So that was GunDog Solutions, and we were making them in these little packs and sending them out to people, and but we were getting to know them before we did that, and that was a lot of fun. But I realized that there wasn't any I couldn't, that it was a very expensive hobby, and so that morphed into me realizing I couldn't handle all the logistics and just not making those kits anymore. And as I scroll down Instagram and see this stuff that's coming, that's where we come full circle and realize, it's not, kits are going to advance and get prettier and tougher and waterproofer, if you will. But, it all boils down to some basic things that you need. There's really no super great innovations of late. And I feel like just at this point in my career, I want to focus on getting that information out there, telling you what you do need in your kit, what's a waste of space, and that sort of stuff. But it all started with my brother and his dog. I made him a kit, and his friends saw it, and other fishing guides saw it, and they oftentimes, these guys out west will, as you guys know, they'll a lot of them will fly fish guide in the in that season, and then run dogs in the other season. Mm-hmm. So they all wanted one. And so it was really cool. But then I realized just giving them info was just as important, because I developed relationships with all of them. And they'd call me, and most of the time, we'd FaceTime. We did a little FaceTime minor surgery from South Carolina to South Dakota one time.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And it was cool. Up there at a big preserve, not a preserve. We're bad about saying preserves down here, because that's all it is. It's usually planted birds in the upstate of South Carolina, which we can get into that. That's another rabbit. But I just it was, in the kits were things you couldn't get over the counter, like, again, some of these prescription dog pain meds, but they're not narcotic or anything. It's just like a dog NSAID, and some things that sometimes I put courses of antibiotics for like a 50-pound dog. And that way, there's a scratch on the nail, take a picture of it, send it to me. Yeah. Okay. Start this. Okay. I know you're starting it. And it was a lot of fun. And I wish there was some way we could have made it like really work, or that I could, but maybe somebody else will. But day to day now, I'm just telling the bird dog, GunDog people that come through, hey, tell your friends. I'm 39, so I see the next 10 years, hopefully, a migration from just, I need to hire another vet so I can do more of this. But I'd like to travel around. I see that in my future, maybe travel around, doing some courses, or speaking at hunting lodges or private places or public places, whatever. That's kind of where I see it going from here.
That sounds neat. That's something I've kind of looked forward to. That was one of the reasons I wanted to have someone that was a vet with your background on the podcast, because like I said, with my dog running out in the field, like, they start kind of limping.
Now, what do you have?
I have a German Shorthair Pointer.
Okay.
And it's always running big and learning things like when to stop it, when to rest it, all that stuff. That's all kind of new to me, and I've done it where my dog ran until it wouldn't run anymore. I didn't hurt her bad, but I got in the truck and I thought, I was nervous because I was like, I called my wife and I was like, River won't stand up.
Yeah,
she's breathing, scary. She's fine, but she just won't stand up. Like, normally, I'm pretty bad about not putting her in a kennel. Like, I have her in the back seat of the truck because it's just me by myself, so I like to have my dog with me.
Well, let's all raise our hands if we're not like that. I'm the same way. I had my dog in a nice kennel in the back of the truck that I thought I was so cool to have there, and then I was lonely in the truck. I stopped and got him out.
Absolutely.
And I roll all over the place with River in the back seat, and I had the windows down going through a town, which she normally, like a normal dog, puts her head out the window and sniffs the town, and she would look towards the window and not even stand up, and I'm like, I think she's dying. Like, I don't know what I did, but
man.
And it was only for a few hours in the morning, running her hard, but it was tall grass. So she was running hard and jumping the whole time. And this was like one of the first times I first got her and first time I took her out. And she was just sore, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to check, how to handle that.
For your dog, that's quite the light switch.
Yeah.
Me having English labs, man, after a hunt, they're like, nah, we're done here.
Yeah.
Like, they're chill.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of, I mean, it's
so much
very,
difference.
yeah.
That kind of brings me to one of my first questions I really wanted to bring up is, like, in your opinion, what's kind of like the bare minimum a gun dog owner should know first aid wise across the board? We're like, not just specifically, like not waterfowl, not upland, just across the board. If you're going to take a dog in the field, in the marsh, all that stuff, what's kind of like the minimum you think someone should know first aid wise?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I thought about, I was thinking a little bit about some of that this afternoon. And I think that the answer to that is to know your limits and know just the limits, not necessarily your limits. But I was thinking about CPR and dogs, and a lot of people take CPR courses. And so, you don't know how far to go. You don't know. And it really is a fine line. I mean, I've hunted plenty of times with no kits and felt stupid after the hunt, thinking something could have happened. I think that a lot of folks get confused on they have too much stuff, and I've been guilty of that at times myself. Too many bullets, if so to speak. I mean, just it's just too much going on where you don't have the minimum. And I'm a minimalist in the sort of sense that there's only so much you can do out there in the field.
Right.
And it's either going to be, okay, I can handle this. I'm calm. I'm going to get him to the vet. I'm freaking out, but it's not going to work. I've got the tools to do what I know that I can do and what's not going to hurt him further. And then there's the times where it's like, man, you need to stop pushing on your dog's chest. It's over. And those are all like super scary for the first time dog owner. Well, really, hopefully the dog owner's lifetime, but for the first time dog owner, it's hopefully it's always again a scary thing, but for the first time it is super scary. I remember Annabelle, I mean, this was when I was in vet school, so I wasn't even a vet yet. And the slightest thing happened to her and I would almost freeze up. So I think a lot of it is teaching people, what is not what's worth doing and what's not doing. We're not placing any value on the patient here, but when is it just not a good idea to keep going? Of course, that's out in the field. At home, obviously you can get in the car and go somewhere. But across the as far as like super essentials that you need to know is signs of what you saw, and that's a really perfect example that you just gave, Jordan, of how a lot of breeds are that we're seeing now. Like I've seen setters be like that at times, not all of them, but at times. English pointers will run until it's like game over. But then there's the dog. Like my dad has a Deutsch Drahthaar, but basically a German Wirehair.
Yeah.
And she will overheat. I've seen her overheat. And I've seen another guy that he hunts with, his dog overheat. And there's just something different about those dogs. They will get so hot. And the time between, like, on a frosty winter morning, these a lot of times the duck dogs don't need that break because they're getting the break intertwined between the hunt. But you have to kind of force yourself to stop, at least with these two dogs I'm speaking of, because they're going to go until they pass out. And I don't like to, it's weird. It's a weird thing to see a mild overheating for the first time.
Well, and that's a good point, because I shut our hunt down, the one I was talking about earlier, because we just weren't seeing birds. We already kind of went through the gambit of the property and stuff like that, and my dog was still willing to go. Like if I would have walked more, she would have just kept going, and she was looking fine until we got in the truck. It was like like Grinch put it, like a light switch. All of a sudden she was like, yeah, now that we're in the truck, I'm not standing up. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But she would have kept on going through whatever she was feeling.
Yeah. It's a Again, it varies. A lot of dogs will tell you with their eyes or with their body or head or face, whatever, when they're tired and had enough and need a break. A lot of dogs don't have a I need a break switch. I've hunted with some dogs. I remember specifically 2 years ago that it's like they would look at you like, oh, I need a break. And but granted, I'll tell you, in this setting there was some areas where they could get. It was generally in an area where there was water too.
Mm-hmm.
But then some of them, will not stop. And so recognizing, and it's kind of like when you're hiking, drinking water, like before you really are thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the big thing too. And then I was thinking of this the other day. One thing we don't realize is, in your vest, which covers a lot of this. And I know, for the first time, this is actually the first year I've ever bought waterfowl gear, but there's plenty of pockets. I'll just leave it at that. We could go on forever about that industry, but having an extra water bottle for your dog, not just for you, is so important. And I violated my own rule plenty of times and had to give the dog my water. But it's the common sense part of it is there, but you can overthink that. And so part of it is just saying and being confident in what you're bringing. Every piece of the kit you have, you shouldn't have anything. I was guilty. Here's a good example. I spent, stupid amount of money to buy this big medical kit for I had 2 little kids and we were traveling some, and I wanted to have this thing. Well, I opened it up one time because my kid got his head scraped on the side of the pool. Just a little strawberry. Opened it up, and there was like a freaking neck brace in there and all back thing. And all I was looking for was a little bit of burn gel and Band-Aid, and I had to go through so much crap to find it. And so knowing what is realistic to carry and what's not. And I know a lot of people like to go back and forth about old remedies or what works and what doesn't work. But my main concern is what works as far as where do you put pressure? Where do you do this and where do you do things? The things that are going to buy you time to get from the field to your vet or in the backwoods, how can you keep this patient stable? And then also what to look for signs of shock and stuff like that, there's a 99 out of 100% chance that it's not going to end well. So anyway, just point me where you want to go and I'll follow because I love talking about this stuff.
So you got something?
Go for it, man.
So I've got a handful of examples of dog injuries we've dealt with.
Yeah.
Probably the first was, so we have a hunting lease and we have trailers and cabins and stuff. There's no run water, electricity, so we bring our own. We run generators. It's not a big deal, but it's not completely, quote, civilized, right? It's a little off the road.
Right.
But we're 30 minutes from a decent-sized town, so it just gives and takes. We were out there. We roll in on a Friday night pretty late, eat some dinner, having a cocktail, about to go to bed, and the dog's chewing on something green that's weird. Long story short, rat poisoning.
Oh, shoot.
So, mind you, he's a 110-pound English lab. So we've got a little bit of a buffer because he's got some body weight.
Right, exactly.
So we always keep, everybody out there has dogs, and we all keep hydrogen peroxide on hand. So I was like, all right, this shit's coming back out. Well, it turns out he doesn't care. We got so much down him, and he wouldn't puke. He'd burp.
Good grief.
It was crazy. It was craziest thing. So we're like, all right, we got to drive back to Dallas. So it's 3 hours.
Good gosh.
We leave at 10 p.m. Maybe it's later. And we haul ass back, right? And the vet we use, and we enjoy them. We use them because they're 24 hours. So we roll straight in there. We'd called them on the way. I had enough head about me to take a picture of the box because everybody kind of used the same shit. And so we had an idea of what it was. So we could.
No, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant idea. Just pointing that out. Everybody needs to remember that.
Yeah.
It's like
And that was the first thing I thought is like, they're going to ask me what it was, and I'm not going to know in 3 hours.
It was green?
At this stress level, I don't know. The dog was eating it. So I was like, somebody find this box. So we did that. Yeah. We get there. They say, did you call animal poison control? I didn't know that was a thing, and I've told everyone I know since, save this phone number. Yep. I mean, I forget. It's a $50 or $100 phone call. But you get to a vet, they're going to tell you to call them because they keep all these poisons on file. You know, it's just like calling human poison control. They're going to tell the vet and yourself what to do, what not to do, right? And I'm speaking correctly, I hope, correct?
You are speaking correctly. And yeah, we like to work with them because there are certain, this stuff, you know, like you're saying, it updates all the time. A lot of the boxes are different, basically the same pathway as far as destruction of the body goes. But, yeah, you are correct. We work with them, like, trying to identify plants. You know, there's certain kind of frogs that are fine. You know, around here, people, a lot of pets will eat these frogs and the green anoles that come out now, and they've just, all they do is make them vomit. But yet another kind of skink is poisonous. So that's, we have to, you know, it's figuring out. But yes, we work with them. So oftentimes we'll call, but for some reason, I don't know the exact details behind this. There is they do want to speak with the pet owner, but they work with us as well. I mean, so it's a good thing because if you look at my shelf right now, I have nothing past. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say it because I keep up with most things online and stuff now, but I don't have a book on my shelf that's newer than, 15 years.
For sure.
So
and there's so much stuff out there. You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible to say that's, unless it's a snake. And where the area you are, I mean, a lot of environmental things people can identify.
Absolutely.
But, most of the time, it's just a comfort barrier to have that. And it is good to put that in your phone. It's like, it's the same thing. I used to put around with these like small, scary little airplanes, and I don't do that anymore. But there was a number. It was 1-800-WX-BRIEF, and like every time before you get to the airport, you call them on the way, and so it's great to have that in your phone, so you can call if you're on the way to the vet, or if you're not sure of, even if you're not sure whether you need to go or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and that,
if
as this story progresses, that's where that kind of part comes in. So we, like I said, we haul in, middle of the night. We get there, so concerned. Dog couldn't act any different. So we're not super concerned on that side, but it's like, still rat poison, right? So we get there. Yeah. They have us call. We talk to him. Well, how much did he eat? I don't know. We pulled a bunch out of his teeth, and he didn't. I don't know. And if you had to guess, I say at most he ate 1 bar. And so they go back there and they talk to the vet for a while, and we sit there and they come back and say, "Oh yeah, man, with his size, he could have eaten 3 bars."
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Oh, all right." And they're like, "So just kind of watch him. If he has diarrhea or anything, if it doesn't get better, it's probably going to happen, but if it doesn't get better, bring him back." The vet gave him something. I'm guessing it was akin to Pepto-Bismol to kind of coat his stomach, because of the rat poison and because of the hydrogen peroxide. That dog never missed a beat.
Nope.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's bizarre.
Yeah, we got home at 5:00 in the morning or something. We slept for a few hours and got up. The dog woke us up like, I'm bored. We were out there where I have fun. So we all packed back up and went back out, but...
Oh God!
Yeah, and so then the second story, let's call it 3 stories.
Yeah.
No, there's 4. The same dog, the big dog. We're out there. He plays with all the other dogs all day. We sleep in Buddy's cabin. It's real cold that night, but we had a heater, so it was fine. It's perfectly fine. This dog duck hunts and it's broken ice. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
The dog's fine.
Yeah, dog's fine.
We get up that morning and he won't stand up. I'm like, oh my gosh. You kind of set him up, and he'd stand there and kind of sit back down. Like, holy shit. So,
dang.
I forgot this story. This one's really good.
I actually forgot this story, too.
Oh, yeah. So we haul into the closest town, which, like I said, 30 minutes. We find a vet. We call them. We're coming. They're not busy. It's Saturday morning, early. So we get there. We get him in. They kind of look him over 2 or 3 times, nurses, vet, and we talk to him like, anything? I was like, nothing. Like, he ate, he poops, he pees. Like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Except he didn't want to get up this morning. He couldn't stand up. Oh, we think he just played too hard yesterday in his muscles or something.
Yeah.
By the time we left the vet, like, we opened the door and he ran out to the truck like, well, let's go back. So just absurd. So that's kind of what you like. What Jordan was saying about his dog, and I think it may have been a culmination of that cold floor. Because it's just a self-built cabin, and it's sitting on blocks. It's a pier and beam basically. So that floor's cold,
right?
So I guess he did play all day with other dogs, and just those hips or whatever. I mean, by the time he got back there, he was 110%.
Yeah, so that's wild. That's wild.
And then we got a cigarette story.
Oh yeah,
our female. Jordan and I are out in the garage tinkering with something on a Thursday right before a podcast. And Jared rolls in, sets his keys and cigarettes down on the coffee table, comes out in the garage to meet us. We're kind of I don't remember what we were doing. We wrap it up. We come back in. I see on the ground like a half a cigarette. I thought, that's weird. I said, Jared, you brought cigarettes with you, right? He said, yeah. I set them right here. Well, it ain't there. She ate the whole pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, it was like a fresh pack.
Nice.
And so I was like, all right. I don't know. I started Googling tobacco and dogs and, nicotine, and it doesn't read well. But also, if I look up a headache on WebMD, I'm dying tomorrow
Immediately
of colon cancer.
Yeah, you have cancer.
So I was like, I'm gonna take this at face value. I and since I had learned in prior experience about the animal poison control number, we kind of watch her for a minute. She's fine. We get her to throw up a bunch of it with hydrogen peroxide. I kind of count cigarettes. We get a good count. We believe she threw them all up, and she acts fine. But all right, this is worth whatever it is, $50 or $100. It's worth a phone call.
No, she was pissed at you though.
Oh, she was so angry for forcing.
She's the emotional one.
She likes to smoke cigarettes.
She has the most personality of any dog.
Do hood rat shit.
She likes to do hood rat shit with her friends.
So
that is definitely hood rat. I can't believe. So, the only thing I'm thinking about here, what's got me thinking about it, is the nicotine is probably you would have seen massive diarrhea from the nicotine and probably a racing heart, black stool, all this kind of stuff. But she probably wouldn't have died. She, right?
Yeah.
Smaller one, just smaller girl. Yeah. So the other thing is so at a certain vet school around here in the Southeast, I forget which one it was. They did a study in like the early 2000s and they used skull pouches in dogs and for nicotine. Yeah. It was kind of weird. I don't know really what the study produced, but that my first thought when you were telling this story was the filters. The filters would not have a fun time going through, and if they fill up, I do have a thought about that story.
I could see that now, but she eats so much weird stuff that I don't know. I mean, she ate 8 hoagie rolls the other day and shit out the plastic bag and all. Like there was nothing was wrong. Couldn't have been better.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm sorry, but continue.
No, it's it's the weird stuff like that. I mean, you're right about that number, by the way, too. And I know what it is now. It's because since they do collect a fee, I think they have to collect it through the owner, not us. That's what it is. Because I always think, why can't we just call them? But I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's a great number to have on hand. And my only story that can compare it all is was down at Auburn. Terrier came in one night at the ICU. And the owner was very reluctant to say what was going on. And the dog had basically eaten an entire box of tampons and was covered. So that's the filling effect I'm talking about. Yeah,
totally.
Effect.
Below a stomach or something.
Right. They wick. And this dog was from his mouth to his butthole. It was pure tampons. It was awful.
Oh, my God.
He lived. I mean, we had to cut him open in like 5 different places, but he lived. The guy that did the surgery came out, the surgeon, and he threw his hat down. And he said, well, guys, I guess it's just that time of night. Haha. But
the hood rat dog just came busting upstairs.
It was the middle of the night.
It
was the middle of the night. Yeah.
Middle of the night. Of course, it's the middle of the night. That stuff doesn't happen during normal work hours.
It can't happen at 3 p.m. when you can just take a leisurely stroll like that.
Hold on a second, Jackson. The hood rat dog is just causing havoc up here.
Broke it off.
I don't think you can hear us. He can hear Jared, but he can't hear us. Way to go, Nelson. Nelson.
Are we back? Oh no.
Ugh.
Are we back?
There we go.
That's fun.
Sounds good to me.
Oh,
Now we got them both up here.
Oh, is Max up there too?
Yeah, Max is up here now too. He's going, what's going on? Hey guys.
Our children.
Oh my God. Yeah, so she just came busting in here, broke a cable, and
Oh man.
she's like, "Did y'all hear that shit? I can smoke cigarettes now."
Yeah, no, right, exactly. And at the moment, she's on the back porch smoking cigarettes.
She
as
definitely
y'all
was
clean
like,
up the mess.
We have to be careful now. I'm the
"Keep
smoker.
my name
So
out of your
when you go
motherfucking mouth."
I gotta make sure that
Settle down, Will Smith.
I hide my cigarette butts from the dog, and my packs of smoke stay in my pocket now because she's got a crippling nicotine addiction.
Yeah, that's intense.
She wants to hang out on the side of the house away from her parents and smoke Marlboro Reds and not talk to anybody.
And I know. Hey, every time I shoot a wild hog, I smoke a Marlboro Red 100, and
Cowboy killer.
Oh,
That's
boy.
tough.
I don't even smoke cigarette. I don't even smoke. But I always will have a pack of Marlboro. Now I keep them. I have to rotate after 3 months. There's half the pack, and it's
They're kind of stale.
they're stale. So
Yeah.
I replace them once or twice a year. But if ever, if I kill a big deer, if I do anything special in my life, I will pull one out and I will burn it down.
That's awesome.
The first pig that I shot at the farm we have access to, and Austin got a good picture of me, and I'm holding a Lone Star, and I got a cigarette in my hand while this pig's,
That
Lone
strung
Star's
out
owned
to
by
this
Russians.
thing.
Don't
Yeah.
forget.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
It is. Lone Star and Paps are owned by Russians. I mean, if that.
I did
who
hear
cares?
something about that.
They sold them a handful of years ago to a Russian conglomerate. No, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like, I'm not trying to be political. That's just a big everybody. I'm in the beer industry for my.
You're
real
not
job.
trying to be political.
But
Yeah.
everybody's so concerned about stuff's made all of a sudden. But that's a whole nother podcast.
It is, isn't it? Listen, guys, I've thought about that too. It's a completely different podcast, but it's like everything is like, bam, made in America in your face on everything.
Yeah, why didn't we start this like 30 years ago?
It's really weird. It's like come back from 30. Right, exactly. I feel like, I don't know. It's interesting.
Everybody
I'm
pulling
just
all the
kinda-
Russian vodka off the shelves, but leaving Lone Star and Paps.
Yeah.
Virtue signaling much? But anywho, back to dogs.
Yeah, back to dogs.
Look at this.
So-
All right, so you told the story about her first encounter with nicotine.
Oh yeah, so we got her to throw them up. We counted them. We felt like we had retrieved all the filters and all the most of the cigarettes because she's just mostly swallowed them. There wasn't a lot of chewing. And Animal Poison Control had said nicotine's real deadly to dogs. Apparently,
True or false?
Oh, false.
Okay.
It can hurt them. But
they
it's
were
not-
like, "Oh my gosh,
it's
you
not
sure you got him? It
quote-unquote-
would have killed her."
false.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we had panicked pretty good.
I'm gonna
and
tell
we
my
were
wife
worried.
this because now if Jared comes over and leaves his ashtray sitting on a table, she's like, "Are you kidding? You know how this goes." I'm like, Nelly likes cigarettes, man. It's cool.
Nellie's my homegirl, dude. I'm trying to hook her up, man. She's got an addiction,
Yeah, I mean,
I ain't selling her out, dude.
So
Give her a methadone.
so that like
Yeah.
she eats a dog eats a couple cigarette butts, they're not gonna die.
Oh my gosh, no!
Oh,
You do,
'cause that's
Give
sure
them a
how they
third one and
spun it to
move on.
me.
Yes.
Give him a
Okay,
third one and
that's
move
good
on.
to know. Good to know because it's
Yeah.
always been we've been very concerned about this since.
Yeah, and let's say dip, okay? Like let's say a full can of dip ingested by a Chihuahua, and that Chihuahua is probably gonna be twitching, but
just
not
messed
twitching,
up but
dead.
not dead.
Messed up.
Like if you ate a full can of dip.
It pretty much the exact same response. I mean, that I would be naked in a cage throwing up, but it's not gonna.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I've never seen this, but I wait. I said I've never seen this. I need to stop. I've seen it 3 times.
Wow.
And there's been a surge of it in the Southeast. The Bible Belt has been insurged with the green, and so I've seen some dogs just during COVID. I've seen dogs just completely come in, just completely stoned out of their minds.
Ate a bunch of owners' weed.
Oh yeah, a bunch of COVID cooped up in the house. Let's make brownies type stuff. So as far as that goes, just hey, unsolicited, just apolitical, just
Sure.
FYI, DYI information. It will not hurt. You can't OD.
They just gotta let it ride.
That gotta let it ride the high, and the worst part is the shits they're gonna have from the brownie.
The chocolate.
Yeah. That's gonna be. I'm more concerned. Like the couple I had a few months ago that came in stoned. I was concerned more if they had a smaller one, and I watched his heart rate for a while because I was more concerned about the amount of cocoa.
Sure.
Versus the pot didn't really bother me. I was like, "Oh, you're stoned, but I don't want your heart to
just ride it out, my friend. Just ride it. Go to bed. Just go to bed.
Just that's a question that honestly, truly, I feel like it's never been revisited on a podcast. Maybe it has. I'm sure. I don't know. But just for guys that have dogs and girls and people that run dogs and have them, it's not gonna hurt anything. I mean, it's not. They're not going to be on planet Earth. I mean, I've seen a dog that looked like it was on Jupiter, but it's not going to die. This dog one day, I swear, I don't know if it was his name or what, but my brother who started my inspiration for the whole GunDog Solutions thing, he walks in and he's like, "What is wrong with that cat?" And he said, I just said it's stoned, man. And my brother said,
Stoned, man.
"That cat is walking on Jupiter." And it's funny to see. It kind of is. Now, that brings us. We'll go into something medical. We'll make it medical. Well, it is medical. So don't worry about pot. If your dog gets a hold of some, watch for the chocolate. Just for the listeners, and it's going to be okay. They might. Whatever. That's fine. You can't really OD on that. Now, the other thing when it comes to toxins and stuff is antifreeze. I mean, we talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
We don't really talk about this a lot in the upland world. But here's what always scares the absolute heck out of me is that all of the work and all of it, the money doesn't matter. I mean, if you look at the number lost, you may cry, but all the love is the main thing.
Absolutely.
All the love you got into this dog. And all of the miles y'all have walked together, the pounds you've lost together, the birds you've shot together, to think that dog could die from licking up antifreeze just sickens me. So that's why I do like to, whether it's an upland dog, a lab, anything, a duck dog, flusher, there are a few things left in the vet world that are easily prevented. Or not, excuse me, they're often overlooked, but they're so easy to prevent. And that's the antifreeze thing. But and like I would go through my dad's barn one day and I found some, and I remember getting on to him about it. Because if he lost a dog or something so simple. But with that, the I guess if you will, if you catch it soon enough, if they say and like Prestone, little rabbit here, apparently, when the flavor is sweet, so
most of
I don't
it is.
understand. It's sweet, so
Jordan
it's ethylene glycol.
Tests.
It almost tastes like it almost tastes like a really sweet honey. I've drank antifreeze a lot.
He's a mechanic, so he's
So
probably
it's
had
a bold
it
statement right there.
I mean,
I drink antifreeze a lot.
Well, that is bold, and like I mean it there's I wish they would put something in it that would make it bitter. But anywho,
do we need to talk like what kind of food or drinks is your wife giving you, Jordan?
Yeah. Is everything okay at home?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Yes.
Need a place to stay.
Dude, when you pull a little radiator hose off, sometimes you think it's all out of there and there's nowhere to really get away from it. Your face is right there. I mean, it just happens.
Like I said, that makes sense.
I'm a mechanic professionally. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, totally.
River's not allowed in the shop. I don't let River in the shop hardly at all.
No way.
For that reason, but I'm terrified of antifreeze in my dog.
Yeah, well, listen, the cure is there used to be a drug called 2-MAP. I forget what the MAP stands for. That's how good that worked. But you never could get it. It was some pill that supposedly fixed it. But the only way to fix that, if the dog gets into that, is put an IV catheter in. To start an IV, and you take a liter bag of fluids. So like what they hang on you at the hospital, like one of those bags.
Yeah.
And you pour half the bag out and fill the other half with Everclear from liquor store.
I've heard this.
Yeah, and the book, the Internal Medicine Standards will still say to this day, you're to keep the dog in a quote unquote drunken stupor for 72 hours. And
that's a lot.
It's a lot of Everclear too for a big black lab that I had in here. And we went through, he and I both went through 3 bottles. And but the weirdest thing, guys,
that's a bunch of booze.
You could
little
smell
for the
it.
patient, little for the doctor.
Totally.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So you could smell it though on his breath, and he hadn't been drinking it. How weird is that? Like,
that is
so
crazy.
his breath reeked of ethanol, but yet he had not taken one sip. So it's clearly not from the breath. It was coming straight from his blood out of his mouth. I just remember that was in his breath. I just thought that was cool. And I hope I've never been that drunk when I saw that dog. But, we had a good 3 days together. The dog did fine. But what happens is the alcohol, the liver, it shuts down the liver. I'm sorry, kidneys. So the alcohol dehydrogenase is the enzyme that's in there, and the antifreeze, the ethylene glycol, wants to land on that and shut your kidneys down. But that enzyme, if you throw the alcohol in there, it wins on that enzyme and throws the other one out. It blocks the other one. So it's a weird. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's weird. It's so interesting, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's cool to hear the science of it too.
Yeah,
it's a competing enzyme. So the alcohol, the enzyme will process. It'll process alcohol just like a human does, but if ethylene glycol hits it, it's close enough that it just stops it, lodges up in the kidney. So if you add enough alcohol, then it competes and it wins out on that little enzyme thing. So yeah, it's weird, but it works, and it's one of the old school. I like it too because it's one of the really old school things that's still super legit, which most of them are. And that's one of the other things that I've seen that GunDog Solutions, a lot of the clients, especially the guys that run dogs, like your fur guys, your sometimes your hog dog guys. That's a whole other podcast there.
We got plenty of recording.
Yeah.
The hog dog world is a different podcast. I agree.
I 100% agree with you.
And we could do this again. That's what I was saying.
So anyway, a lot of guys that run dogs. When I say run dogs, what I mean is like legit. Like you're running bird dogs or you're running duck dogs. And what I mean is, let's see, how do I say this? There's a lot of expense in that. If you've got a pack of dogs, I had a pack of dogs, you got a group of dogs going out and you're running a hunting lodge and you're either waterfowling or whatever, then, the expense of taking each one to the vet for a checkup, every 6 months was, I personally would do it, but there was a lot of folks that weren't even doing just physicals. And so I wanted to break that barrier somehow and provide that service to big places that had more than one dog and couldn't or wouldn't do all that. But everybody that has a dog that hunts with it in any way feels about it differently. I know the waterfowl market is typically, these dogs are. I mean, they ride in the. Yeah, I don't know. You can say who is it that does the ducks? The lab,
Austin.
You duck hunt?
Yes, sir.
Austin.
We all
Yeah, I mean,
really duck
typically-
hunt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, typically those dogs are riding in the front seat,
Oh yeah.
and then your bird dog out in West Texas is, in the back with 5 others,
Yep.
So you kind of have to see these people's perspective too. And as long as it's not unethical or harming the dog, you have to meet them. And that's where I really got pissed sometimes when I talk to people is they didn't have somebody to talk to that could relate, and I couldn't relate to talking about even hog hunters. I couldn't relate to hog hunters, but I've been hog hunting a few times with dogs. I don't want to go again, but I've been there, I've done that, and I can relate to them.
Yep.
And, and everybody wants to nobody wants to hurt I mean, sure, there are people that do, they're evil, but, all of us here, nobody wants to hurt their dogs. So they want to do, they mean well, and sometimes they need guidance. Like, hey, this is not an area you staple, or, you can staple that, believe it or not, or whatever, you have to guide them. Because anyway, it's just the way it is, the way the world is, and the way it probably will be for a long time. It's just, everybody sees things differently, and that's fine. And meeting them at their needs. I've got a guy that, his poodle flies on it's a poodle. Now that's a rat. This is a waterfowl dog, and it's a poodle. It's awesome. The coolest thing, black standard poodle, duck dog. And it's got a private jet. This dog does.
Oh my
and
gosh.
and so, I mean, you got that, where this dog, I mean, I think it hunts in painted toenails. I mean, it's unreal. And then you got the guy that has, 15 blue tick coonhounds and coon hunt, and that's
Yes.
so it's two different animals, so to speak. No pun. I mean,
absolutely. Oh no, we completely understand. For sure.
And I like that though. I like that about it. I think that, I see both. I love the spectrum, so to speak, and I think that going to I enjoy a night at a high-end hunt club, in the South, whatever. But if I did that every night, I'd blow my. I mean, if I did that every night, I actually couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, and then I like, y'all get it, and
Totally.
different strokes, and but when your dog's bleeding, when its ears bleeding, and that's any dog, and so that's universal, and somebody said one time they called me a bird dog specialist, and I said, well, I get along with their owners better than most vets. I said, it's dog's a dog. I said, it's just seeing that dog, how the owner sees it, and then educating them on what to do and how to do it. So that's the fun part. What else y'all got? Y'all got any good stories that have open answers to, or open questions in them?
Mine doesn't really have an open question to it, but I can relate to what you're saying. We used to have a mutt at my house, and he cracked his tooth and it got abscessed. And the vet we normally went to, they started telling us, they were like, well, you need to send it to this dentist, vet dentist, and, have this big bill and all this stuff. And we're like, man, that's kind of weird. And we're like, we're not going to do that. It's a dog. Like, I mean, like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm not going to send him to get his teeth redone. And we went to a different vet for a different opinion. And the guy was like, dude, it was on one of his canines. He was like, he doesn't really need it. It's fine. He's old. He was an older dog. And they were like, we'll just pull it out and he'll be fine. They pulled it out and he lived another, 5 years after that?
Probably.
Like Jethro did. Like, he didn't even care. I mean,
he's not hunting for
food. And it was crazy because people made us feel bad about not wanting to spend $10,000 on an oral surgeon to get a tooth repaired, and the other guy was like, and now we have that same vet, and it's funny because the guy is actually a waterfowler. He had a German short hair like I do, and now he has a lab, and he relates to. I go in there and he's like, "Hey man, how's hunting going?" When I took River in,
that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I took River in for some. She had an ear infection because I was falling behind on getting her ears cleaned and stuff. And
you do it at home yourself?
Yeah, I do. But it got bad, and I took her in.
Our dogs get done every week or two.
Yeah,
just because
River does for sure. Now after all this, and I took her in. I was like, and it was close. It was right at the beginning of hunting season, and I asked my vet, and I was kind of worried asking my vet. I was like, hey, I can hunt her, right? Like duck season start and all this stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, just, clean her ears after every time. Here's this, here's that. She's like, keep her out of the water for the first 2 weeks of the treatment and then bring her back in. We'll make sure everything's fine. It's cool. Like I get it. She's a working dog. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm with a vet that understands. Some people would look at you like, you're going to do what with your dog that's hurt? Well, she's not hurt. I'm treating her. She's fine now.
Yeah, it's unreal. And we're the problem I see with our age group, I'm 39, is that the vets below me have what now?
You're with us.
Yeah,
we're all at that age.
We're all what?
At that age. We're the same age.
So at that point, it's weird. The graduates below us in age often feel compelled to go through some sort of checklist. Like, okay, if I can't fix that in the best way possible, then what is the absolute gold standard to I guess that's out there. So, well, that would be technically putting a porcelain cap and reconstructing the roof, And I'm sorry, but I don't know. I try to fill people out, but I had one guy come in, and he was a German Shepherd, and he'd spent, heaven knows what on it, and it did the same kind of things. What I was thinking about, the canine was cracked in half, and I said, well, this thing, unfortunately, is going to have to come out, and he'll learn to live with it fine. And he said, oh heavens, no. And I was like, well, I said the other, I said, I don't know what else we could do. I said, I guess I could call a dentist and dog specialist up there. And well, this guy went and spent $4,500 to have titanium caps.
Oh my!
Put on to make it look like a Navy SEAL dog. And I was like, dude, you have put this dog through so much shit, because he did both teeth. So they had to mess with 2 teeth, and it's really interesting. It's teeth are, they have 42. If you count all of them, they have 42.
42 teeth.
So it's 42. So if I tell somebody, I often say, hey man, it's just best to pull this thing out. They're like, what? Pull it out? But I'm like, they feel better the next day. I don't know if that happened to you, but especially if it's abscessed or something.
Jethro never really skipped a beat. It got he didn't eat very well when it was in his mouth, but once he got pulled out, he was, didn't eat a crap after that. He was like, all right, cool, man. Back to normal.
It's cool.
It's
like my grandma. She gets it, right? So she gets it. she gets. No, she really does. It's funny. She has teeth pulled. She's 87, and my cousin came up and said, why y'all is she having these teeth pulled? We need to fix them. I'm like, dude, she goes once a month and usually has one pulled. She's just she is a badass, and she's tough. And I'll see her and she'll say, what happened to you today? She's like, I had a couple teeth pulled. But the thing is I'm like, she's 87. Yeah. What are y'all going to do?
Exactly.
Reconstruct her whole mouth?
Yeah. It's not worth it. It's not worth the pain and suffering.
No, but that's ooh. And then there's clinics too. Now, this is another thing that I've never had the chance on a podcast to talk about, but this is a pearl. It's a pearl. Scent and teeth. Now that we're on teeth, I'm going to tell you the BS and the truth. The BS is that your dog's teeth need to be cleaned every year. We recommend this by AHA standards or whatever. That's BS. What's not BS is that plaque can build up. You can do something about it. Number two, and third truth is that you need to, because it matters. Scenting ability has shown to decrease a ton, like sometimes over 50%, in patients that have grade 4 out of 4 dental tartar, and which is pretty nasty.
Yeah,
that's like barnacles growing on there and stuff. Really nasty. But so if you stop and think about it, if you're chewing, I'm thinking of my kids were just eating these red push pops, and that flavor, when it hits your tongue, it goes all the way up through your nose. It's just so powerful and sugary, and probably tastes like ethylene glycol. Probably tastes like antifreeze, but it's just it goes right up into your nose. You can smell it so good. Well, if your mouth was like, if you couldn't taste it at all, you can't smell. It goes both ways. If you hold your nose and eat, you can't taste it. Well, if your mouth is like crap, you can't smell it.
Makes sense.
So it makes sense. So like there's these wipes that I've found, and everybody in my family that runs dogs, that has that hunt, and that even that has dogs, they're called Vetradent. Vetradent, and it's in a little. It looks like a Lysol wipe canister, and you pull them out, and it's like this micro gritty sandpaper, but it doesn't even feel gritty, but you put it over your finger, and you just put your finger in their mouth. And the thing is, I found dogs are super averse to objects that you put in their mouth, like toothbrush, but it's when it's your finger, they'll let you do it. And so, and you're just looking to scrub the upper outsides. That's the ones that you got to get. The inside of canine teeth typically don't build up tartar. It's mostly the outside. So if you can do that ahead of the game, you'll never have to even go. They'll never have to go under anesthesia to get them clean, unless something's quote unquote something happens. So that's one way to do it. I tell a lot of people, it's too late. This stuff's not going to work on your, using your finger. We're going to need to get this off, and then we'll keep it off with this stuff.
That makes sense.
Whereas most dogs that most like hunting breeds, if we're kind of geared toward that tonight, then I would say most of those dogs don't have the dental problems that smaller dogs have. That's for certain. So most of those dogs that I see, I'm like, hey, we don't need to clean right now, like under anesthesia, but why don't we start doing these wipes, and hopefully he can smell better. Now, the other extreme is I'm hunting a place down in Georgia where this guy didn't really care about much, and he's like, hey, why do you think she's not smelling? And I said, I don't know. So I walked over and looked in her mouth, and her mouth was disgusting. I said, that's why she can't smell. So that's one of the ones that, that's how I kind of first, and that was the first real case I'd seen him. But yeah, that's a little pearl out there, is especially for dogs, that are pointing, but like, even your labs that aren't scent, they're retrieving, they're not basing everything on their nose, except when maybe they get closer, it's dark, they can still smell, and you don't want to take that away from them.
For sure. No doubt. I'll have to look into those.
Mm-hmm. You can get them on, they're not prescription. You can get them on, obviously that's the thing that bothers me too. You want to hear a conspiracy theory? I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go. I've got a conspiracy theory.
Realistic,
now,
Ralph.
Everybody who's listening, if you're running down the road on Highway 85 and listening to this podcast, you best look up, because this is going to make you freak out a little bit. Okay. So.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yes.
Oh, this is awesome.
It was going to be good. I've been waiting on this one. So actually, I just thought of it. But okay, so what's the name? Does anybody remember the name of the pain medicine for dogs that came out in the 90s?
No idea. No clue.
Okay, Remedil. It's they used it a lot in the 90s, and it didn't become generic until about the time I got out of vet school in 2009, and it was called Remedil. Well, Remedil was for dogs, and it was like Advil, but it was safe for dogs. Okay, so Remedil's made by, lo and behold, by Pfizer. Well, if you take Advil, which is ibuprofen, and Remedil's carprofen. So Advil, also made by Pfizer, same company, builds one pill that is an NSAID, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug that can make your pain go away, but will kill a dog. A human dose will kill a Labrador Retriever. Okay, but at the same time, they're going to make the same class of drug that is safe for humans and dogs, but is marketed for dogs, and that is 10 times expensive as Advil. And that's what makes us look like shit. And that's what makes people don't trust vets is we do. But these companies, it's crazy. So my conspiracy is that in order to keep these, I don't know. I really don't know. It's like, why would they do that? Can't they make
money,
something
man?
that
Follow the money.
So that's my conspiracy is that, and this was the thing is like, I sent a guy a first aid kit today, and maybe we'll start, hopefully when this comes back, we can start doing this on a better scale. But we threw in, he knew this, it was totally legal. We met the guy and the dog, a bottle of carprofen. But I mean, it's ibuprofen, but it's carprofen, and it's safe for dogs because why would you not want that? Every time my dog, and that's the frustrating thing. And like so many hunters, I've got people from Charlotte and some other places around that drive down because they know, and I know that once I touch that dog, and also once I do deem that it's healthy, once I've got some labs and see, okay, this dog is a healthy dog, so we can send home some stuff that this guy's going to need when he hunts because. Like my dad, so that's my conspiracy. Basically, it's gone generic now, but it's still, ibuprofen. Just for the record, just like I don't know what we talked about earlier about weed won't kill your dog. Ibuprofen will kill your dog, but carprofen will not kill your dog. And so I have a little beef with that because I feel like if there were something available over the counter, I'm no chemist. I'm not going to invent it. That aspirin can cause stomach bleeding pretty bad. That's why we don't like to use that. Just FYI, but it's the same class of drugs. So, again, why? I don't know. But it'd be nice if everybody had a bottle of Rimadyl. So,
is it tough to get now, or?
No, you can get just generic now.
Okay.
But my beef with it is it's prescription. You have to have
when it should be over the counter.
$24.
Well, right, and I just think you should be able to get a bottle of Rimadyl for $20. That's a big bottle. See, I'm used to saying $20 when Advil's what, $2, $4 a bottle.
Yeah.
So the thing is why can't that be available? What does Advil say? It says the same dang thing. If the dog's not eating it itself, it says, hey, you take 20 of these a day, you're probably going to have some stomach bleeding. Yeah. But on the dog one, it says the same thing in the back. Why can't people read that for themselves? Why do I have to tell them that? So I don't.
Because people are dumb, man.
Yeah. For sure.
Like the general public is bad. It's bad.
I give you that.
Oh man, yeah. I'm in sales kind of, and just the stuff people come up with is just come again. Like,
yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
It's not just me, man. I sit there and I think I'm guilty. I think we all are probably thinking like our job's the worst. You don't even know kind of thing.
Nah.
But like I love hearing other people's. Excuse me, that sounds terrible. But I'm not the only guy who struggles with the job. Everybody in the public. I'm not the only one that thinks the public's crazy.
Not at all.
Absolutely. No, it's Abe's in customer service. Jared dabbles in customer service. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I do some.
On that note, it's been great, guys. On that note, it's been great.
Absolutely. Well, Jackson, man, we super appreciate you coming on the podcast.
God, I know. I wasn't trying to. I'm good. My wife's giving me till midnight.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I mean, I don't want to go that long on the phone.
No.
We can run a few more minutes.
This isn't the Joe Rogan podcast. We're not doing 4 hours.
In person, maybe.
Yeah, in person we could.
But
well, I see y'all's stuff. Like when I had the phone, I see y'all's stuff, and y'all. This is legit. I mean, when I got on the phone, I was like, "Oh my, what have I got myself into?" These guys got real microphones. I'm like, "What's going on?"
No, this is all new. We feel fancy.
We're just really good. So cool, looking the part.
Okay, we're trying.
And what's cool? These guys that are like us. I have a lot of friends that drive to Arkansas and duck hunt every year, and so they've got everybody I know that's really into hunting with dogs. It spends a lot of time on the road. And so these podcasts are so great.
Yeah,
totally.
Especially the ones that don't have any kind of like, I'm not selling shit. I don't have nothing to give.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's fun. It's fun to to talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah, man, that's our deal.
That's our philosophy.
We don't have like we all pay monthly to keep this thing running, and we've always said we do it for fun. It gives us an excuse for all four of us to hang out together once a week, mostly, if not more. And we get to meet. We get to meet new people. We get to learn a ton of stuff. It's like from people like you who are far smarter than us, and just get to make new contacts. And once it stops being fun, we're done.
Yeah.
No, it's done. And that's the thing. I mean, tonight we didn't go into full detail on where to compress this and where to do that, but it's good to get together and talk about it because others, as they listen, can take just bits and pieces, and you can run with so much because you might hear something and look it up and this and that. So, but it's a lot of fun. Y'all got a good thing going.
And man, maybe later in the summer, if you have a slower month, or I don't know how your schedule works, obviously. If you want to get in front of a laptop, and kind of join in with video,
we could do
or if you had even slides or something, if you want to talk about compression and wear.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I don't want you to spend a bunch of time building a presentation, but man, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, we'd love to do that, and we can record the video and we can release video too for sure.
Now, how would you record that?
A Zoom can record. So we're using that feature since you're remote right now.
So if I have
you can get on your laptop and you can share your screen. So you could be like, all right, I'm going to bring this up. It's anatomy of a dog.
Shit.
And then you can
that would be so cool.
Dude, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm game because I really want to get into a few subjects where people can go through and say, hey, okay, what do you have in your kid? This is that. So we've definitely got some room for that. That'd be awesome.
Well, one of the things I thought was really cool, you did that video on GunDog Solutions where you actually showed how to put a bandage on, and just simple video. Like I would have never in my entire life thought about putting, I wanted to save that video, and I never did. And I don't know if that video is still around, but it was amazing just to see that something so simple.
I'll get it to you.
It's awesome.
I'll get it to you, but yeah, it's weird. And that's something I learned from a vet school professor passing one day in the hallway. I never would have known it, but ever since I've thought, every time I do it, I'm like, that's it's a whole different way of thinking about taping and stuff like that. And and just on that subject, before we go tonight, I feel like most people wrap too tight.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, just a little advice here on the phone. On the podcast, if you're listening, don't go to bed with vet wrap on your dog's leg. If you're not really careful about making certain that everything's moving and sliding underneath. Obviously, if it's got to be a pressure wound, that's not something you go to sleep with anyway.
Yeah.
But I always err on the loose side, and that's why the flipping it or rolling it out and rolling it back up. That I'll never forget the guy who showed me that, and it's little stuff like that. And I learned them too. I love to learn stuff, and I learned stuff. What the other thing is, a lot of times people may think, even me, oh well, he's chasing a rabbit or telling a story. Well, here's the thing: what the vet did when you went leads into the next question. It's really cool how that works.
Yes, sir.
So, what the vet did that was good, what the vet did that worked, that leads us into a great, subject or whatever. So it works well. And so that way makes such more of a dialogue rather than, okay, what do you think about this or whatever,
totally.
So yeah, that would be a very cool thing to do. And I would like to do that. So
Absolutely.
We'll figure that out for sure.
I mean, we're only booked a month or so out, so you pick a date and we can schedule ways out.
Yeah, get in touch with me. You have, I think, both my cell phone numbers, so just feel free.
Yeah, man, don't be shy. We'd love that.
Sounds like a plan.
We're all from the South. Don't be shy.
Yeah, and I've been to Austin one time for a conference, a vet conference. I feel I enjoyed it. I loved it, and I've always wanted to try to come out there, but I'll make my way out there one day for sure.
Here's the deal. You said every time you kill a pig, you smoke Marlboro Red.
Yeah.
If you want to come hang out,
Yeah,
bring a couple packs.
Yeah.
Okay, hey.
You sound like you can hang out with us, bro.
Come on with it.
I'm okay. I'm going.
We got
okay.
places we can shoot pigs. We can drink a couple beers. You can smoke Marlboro Reds.
When was the last time you smoked Marlboro Red?
Me?
Yeah.
High school.
Oh, yes.
I'm probably gonna. I'm up at the clinic with these superior acoustics, but on the way home, it's gonna be tempting. It's gonna be damn tempting.
Yeah, podcast reward.
It should be. It should be. Honey, what are you smoking? Oh man, that was podcast went great. But listen, seriously, I don't know what it is about me. I think it's because I grew up not deer hunting, but I like to deer hunt some now, like once a year maybe. But these pigs, like I'm fascinated by. All I want over my office is the head of a big black pig. I know that sounds.
Oh no.
Kind of.
No, you know that's no explanation, man.
Yeah,
come on with it.
You can make that happen,
dude.
For sure.
Tonight.
That's crazy.
We have someone on camera right now.
We
right?
live in Texas, it's crazy.
It's nuts, aren't it? Is it that bad?
I mean, it's
pretty insane. Yeah.
It's not even like bad. It's just like you just go kill pigs. Like we're this weekend. Like we're a bunch of us going out to the deer lease. There's 12 guys on it. All the wives are coming. My wife's bringing 2 of her friends from work. And they want to kill pigs, so like we'll plant them in a box stand with a bottle of wine, and be like, "Hey, sit here till a pig comes out." I mean, it's just nonstop.
Oh my gosh!
Man. I mean, I could say if we put effort into it in a quarter, in 3 months,
into it.
Like, honestly, like if we put effort into it and had all our traps running and feeders running and hunted, we could kill 200 or 300 pigs in 3 months, no problem,
no doubt.
Good grief!
Yeah.
So that's how it is,
and it would feel like it didn't put a dent.
Yeah,
in the
and you
behind
didn't.
it.
That's the thing. That's the problem, isn't it? It feels like you didn't put a dent in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Grinch is right. Like that's the actual thing. We didn't.
We could 100% do that.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I mean we've dropped trap up in Oklahoma on 30 pigs. We've dropped the trap on 6 or 7 here on our small trap. We've shot. It's.
We need to get that one up and running. We got.
Last year, it got to the point where it'd be Austin would send a text and say, "Anybody want a pig?"
Yeah, it's to the point we'll watch it on the cell camera in the trap. Like, all right, can anybody go out there tomorrow? Because you can't. They're crazy. They're crazy. You get them trapped and they just freak out until they're either exhausted or out. And the things they can destroy is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So that one that pulled 2 T-posts up out of the ground and pulled a whole side of the trap.
Yeah,
it just destroyed a side of a trap.
3 pigs pull 2 T-posts 2 feet out of the ground.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious!
To get up to pull it because the fence was wired to it real solid.
Yeah.
So they pulled it up and got under it. So you don't drop the gate unless you got plans to be out there within 24 hours. Yeah. I mean there is still some ethics to it. I'll stand by that. But B, destruction, man, destruction.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, and listen. What we're dealing with up here pales in comparison to what y'all are dealing with.
Oh yeah.
But it is kind of, it's to the point where you're shooting to where your bullet gets the biggest, has the most negative impact, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here it's you just. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll start at the big one because it's breeding right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah.
Or it's like, which one do we want to eat?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, let's do it. My son is 5, and he's way beyond we found out he's shooting lefty, so he's shooting lefty. I took a Red Rider and sawed off half the stock.
You're talking to a room of lefties, except for me.
Abe and myself both are right-handed.
You're in a different room, Jared.
But left-eye dominant, and my wife is also right-handed but left-eye dominant. So we get you.
Wow, that's so crazy. That's
crazy.
interesting.
My wife and daughter are the same way.
Because my son is 5, he's right-handed, and he was always he never could hit anything. I realized he's left-eye dominant. He's right-handed, but he's left-eye dominant. So he switched over to shooting lefty, and he's killing it. It's really cool.
Yep. Well, we get that. So, yeah, man. Let's figure something out. That'd be fun.
All right.
We could do a podcast in person then.
That would be fantastic. That would be great. That'd be awesome. That'd be like a dream come true. Well,
dude,
y'all boys have a great night.
Yeah, man.
Likewise, my friend.
Jackson, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. It was
Absolutely
great. It was super great to talk to you.
This was fun.
It was super fun. So yeah, hit up Jordan. Y'all figure out some dates, and we can run it through the group and sort something out for the summer, man.
For sure, fun. Man.
Sounds like a plan. Y'all have an awesome night.
You too. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Keep right.
All right. Yep. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Stormwater Creek is the best. Grinch, the captain. Aim, the helper. Jordan, the problem solver. I hope you like Stormwater Creek. Stormwater Creek.